Hi, Muffins. So I thought I would make another update. I actually just am leaving downtown right now because I went to go meet up with two girls that I used to go to treatment with, and it was really good to see them. Though the one we were talking about a lot of stuff, just kind of catching up. We hadn't seen each other in I want to say like 4 months. But the one girl was talking about how she's kind of been having a hard time lately, and she's been binging and purging, and we were kind of talking about like the financial impact of that, how much money you spend on binges and you don't even realize. She was saying that she was spending like 60 to 80 bucks a day, and I was just kind of, I don't know, we were talking about that, and it just made me remember like the lowest point of my bulimia when I was spending like $100 a day every day for like months on end, just on binge food, and not realizing. Most of the time it wasn't real, like I wasn't realizing I was spending that much because it was like $20 here and $10 here and $15 here, and just kind of throughout the day, and not ever keeping like that mental running tally until you look at your bank statements, and then you're like, oh, well, that was my entire paycheck, practically. And then trying to figure out how you're going to buy binge food, like on the weeks that you have to like pay rent, or, have other stuff to pay. And like, we were talking about, sometimes trying to trick yourself into not buying binge food, thinking like, okay, well, I want to go out I'm supposed to go out with friends in the next 2 days, so if I want to have any money to spend to go out, then I shouldn't buy this food right now. And it was interesting because that's something I hadn't thought about in a long time, and I've actually been having a difficult time lately with like this euphoric recall, where I've been thinking, oh my gosh, I miss binging and purging. I miss like just being able to, whatever, like down an ice cream cake, or have this food that, now I'm not eating because I still have my safe foods and stuff like that. And so these foods I haven't had in a long time, because they're, in my mind, they're still foods that you only binge and purge. You can't eat it and keep it, So it was just interesting because it's something I hadn't thought about in a long time. But actually, meeting up with them was so awesome. And it made me think of some things that I kind of want to talk about, and like have this blog go in a certain like recovery direction. Hopefully I can share some of the things that I've learned being in treatment and being in with this little bit of recovery that I have, and it can help you guys. So I would say the first thing that I've found the most helpful in recovery is not isolating, which is so, so hard. But even if you don't want to, going out with friends, being outside, like take a walk if you can, do it responsibly and not over exercise. I mean like 15 minutes, no more than a half an hour, just to like be out in the sun. Talk to people on the phone. Talking on text message and over Facebook and stuff is like a good start, but it's not the kind of social interaction that is, I don't want to say it's not helpful, but there are better ways to do it, like being face to face, being out of the house, even if you're flat broke because you've been binging and purging too much. Meeting a friend for a walk, or to go to a park, or to, if you have $2 to get a cup of coffee, any safe activity. And it's not even like you have to go out and talk to people, like the person you go out with. You don't have to like talk about your eating disorder. You don't have to talk about recovery and how it's going for you, just to be out. Like, that was a really big thing for me right at the beginning, of being in treatment like this past time around and really getting serious about recovery was I wasn't just hanging around people who I knew from treatment or I knew like had an eating disorder, whether or not they were recovered. Just being out around people really was a huge step. Like, it helped a lot with my depression. I felt like I was being productive, and it really helped to kind of, how do I phrase it, reform my identity, because I know that I've talked about it and I know I've heard other people say it, so I don't know if you guys experience this or not, but I always was so afraid to leave my eating disorder because how was I going to function without it? Because that's who I am. You know, like, this bulimia is part of my identity. And I figured out the trick. The trick is to make other things your identity, which sounds so like duh, right? But legit, that's how you do it. That's how you loosen the grip of your eating disorder. You find other things to get yourself involved in and reform your identity into something new. And you don't even have to like be absent from your behaviors to do that. It's just something you start doing and you build up little by little by little. And the more that you form a new identity, the more you're not going to want to have your eating disorder behaviors as often as you have like when things are really bad. And like, I'm not saying at all that I'm perfect or my recovery is amazing or I never use symptoms. It's not that. But that certainly helps. So my goal for you guys today is to reach out. Here's a challenge for you. Reach out. Do something today to break that isolation. Call somebody. If it has to be a text or a message over Facebook, fine. But try to reach out to somebody, you know, like, push yourself, but just try to get outside your box today. Sorry, that was a big bump. Try to get out and try to do something that's just a little social. Start to build that, like, build those muscles, you know? So you guys have a good day. I'm going to leave this as a relatively short video, and I'll touch on some more recovery things in future videos. Bye, guys.